Good evening or morning or whatever. Everybody, this is Pierino Pocket Mouse coming to you with another Welsh fairy tale. Okay? This one is called Goronwy, Tudor and the Witches of Llanddona. Here we go. Are you ready? I am. Very few men in Anglesey in the olden days dared to cross any of the witches of Llanddona, and those who were bold enough to do so suffered grievously for their rashness. But Goronwy Tudor, who lived not far from Llanddona, was reckless enough to defy even Bella Fawr, Big Bella, the most famous and most dreaded of all the witches of that uncanny village, and he was not a ha'porth the worse. Perhaps you do not know the history of the Llanddona witches. Long ago, a boat came ashore in Red Wharf Bay without rudder or oars, full of men and women half dead with hunger and thirst. In early days, it was the custom to put evil doers in a boat to drift oarless and rudderless on the sea. And when this boat was swept by wind and waves on the beautiful sands of Llanddona, the good people who then lived there prepared to drive it back into the sea, thinking it was manned by criminals. But the strangers caused a spring of pure water to burst forth on the sands. The well still remains, and this decided their fate. They were allowed to stay and to build cottages, but they did not change their evil natures. The men lived by smuggling, and the women begged and practiced witchcraft. It was impossible to overcome the smugglers in a fray, for each of them carried about with him a black fly tied in a knot of his handkerchief. When their strength failed them in the fight, they undid the knots of their cravats, and the flies flew at the eyes of their opponents and blinded them. The women used to visit the farmhouses, and when they asked for a pound of butter, a loaf of bread, some potatoes, eggs, a fowl, part of a pig, or whatnot, they were not denied because they cursed those who refused them. If they attended a fair or market, no one ventured to bid against them for anything. But Goronwy Tudor was not afraid of them. He had a birthmark above his breast, which is a great protection against witchcraft, and he knew how to break nearly every spell. He had the plant, which is called Mary's turnip, growing in front of his house. He also nailed horseshoes above every door and put rings made of the mountain ash under the doorposts, thus making his house and all his farm buildings safe. To make them doubly sure, he sprinkled earth from the churchyard in all his rooms, and in his byre, stable, and pigsty. When the animals were in the fields, however, he had some difficulty in securing them from harm. One day when he went to fetch his cows from the meadow to be milked, he found them sitting like cats before a fire, with their hind legs beneath them. Goronwy took the skin of an adder, burnt it, and scattered the ashes over the horns of the cows. They got up at once and walked off with their usual dignity to that byre. Oh my! Another day the milk would not turn into butter, and a very unpleasant smell arose from the churn. Goronwy took a crowbar, heated it red hot, and put it in the milk. Out jumped a large hare, and ran away through the open door of the dairy. After this, the milk was churned into beautiful butter. Some time after, the supply of milk began to decline, and the butter made from it was so bad and evil-smelling that the very dogs would not touch it. The milk became scantier and scantier, until at last it ceased altogether, and the cows gave nothing but blood. Ugh. Goronwy watched in the fields at night and saw a hare going up to a cow and sucking it. She squirted from her mouth and nostrils the milk she had sucked, and then went on to another cow. Ugh. She did the same with her and with all the other cows. Goronwy knew that it was old Bella in the form of a hare, and he prepared to stop her evil doing and to punish her. The next night he took his gun, putting into it a silver coin instead of shot. Shot cannot penetrate a witch's body, and placed a bit of vervain under the stock. When he saw the hare milking the cows, he fired at her. The hare immediately ran off in the direction of Bella's cottage, with Goronwy after her. He was not so fleet of foot as Puss, but he managed to keep her in sight and saw her jumping over the lower half of the door of the house. Going up to the cottage, he heard the sound of dreadful groans. When he reached the door, he went in. There was no hare to be seen, but old Bella was sitting by the fire with blood streaming from her legs. He was never again troubled by old Bella in the shape of a hare, and by drawing blood from the bewitched kine, he broke the spell. Bella made one more attempt to injure him. She went to the cold well and launched at him the great curse of the witches of Llanddona. May he wander for ages many, and at every step a stile, and at every stile a fall. At every fall a broken bone, not the largest nor the least bone, but the chief neck bone every time. Goronwy felt in his bones that he had been cursed. He got some witch's butter that grows on decayed trees and stuck pins in it. When the pain inflicted by the pins penetrated her body, Bella had willy-nilly to appear before him. She was screaming with pain, and Goronwy refused to take the pins which were causing the anguish out of the butter until she said, "Raduwarnat tiak ar bopeth ar afedi. God's blessing on thee and on everything that thou possessest." After this, neither Bella nor any of her tribe had any power over Goronwy or his wife, or his manservant, or his maidservant, or his ox, or his ass, or anything that was his. The end. Please explain this fairy tale to me. Good night. See you later.